a good intro. Greetings, friends. This is Agamemnon. Joining me, as always, yes, he pointed at the right one, is Furious George.
Furious George. Furious George.
Furious
I
George.
prefer to go by now.
Yeah, but we're familiar enough for me to call you by your first name. Furious?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Fair
We're fine
enough.
with that.
So, guys, welcome to the first edition of StarCraft Happy Hour. Glad to have you. Last week we did a bit of a preview, which was with just me. This week we're going to be discussing... What are we discussing this week?
I believe we're discussing first tier units of all three races.
Awesome.
Yep,
Awesome.
It'll be great.
We've got some pro replays, we've got some subscriber replays, so we're gonna... Why don't we jump right in? Let's start with the Marines.
Let's do it.
All right.
Who doesn't love Marines?
Oh, I love Marines, but not when they're coming at me. Okay, so this first one is going to be from Ganzi. He's on Team Complexity. Excellent player. He streams a lot. I think he's actually streaming Heart of the Swarm right now. So go check that out on Team Liquid. Let's jump to the overlay. Hopefully that's working. Let's just double check it. Excellent. Have patience with us, guys, because this is kind of our first time live streaming together on Twitch. So, we have Ganzi versus Zerg King. Ganzi is in the bottom in the red suit. And at the top is Zerg King. Let's bring up the production tab. Maybe Geo, I'm going to speed it up just a little bit because we want to jump into the action. And by the way, guys, sorry we both are both fighting colds.
That we are. But there's nothing better for a cold than a cold beer.
Okay, but can you pronounce the beer is the question.
Zwiak.
That's a fail, but good try.
Huh?
It's like Javix or something like that.
Is the Z silent?
Can you do us a favor and maybe pull up some stats on the Humble Marine for us?
We certainly can. In our trusty StarCraft book.
So, this StarCraft Happy Hour is obviously brought to you by SC2 Mistakes. One of the mistakes, Furious, that I think I've noticed in a lot of people's play is that Tier 1 units start to get abandoned, say like halfway through the game or near the end of the game.
Right.
But really I think this play, especially by Ganzi here, we're going to see that Marines, for example, can be effective throughout the entire game, not just the early game.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good at kiting Zealots, really good at micro. We got one quick one coming out here, chasing away a scout. We're only at the 3-minute mark. 2, actually. And they got a scout kill there.
And I think when you bring that up with the late game, I think one of the biggest advantages to Tier 1 units in the late game is harassment. Because they take up such little supply. So, for example, the Marine takes up only 1 supply.
Yeah.
So if you always have 8 to 10 Tier 1 units producing throughout the whole game, just hitting bases, creating that harassment.
Yeah.
If you lose them, it's not that big a deal because they're so cheap to make.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
if you don't lose them, it's not that big a deal because they don't take up that much supply.
Exactly.
Right? So that's a great way to use a first tier unit late in the game.
The other thing that these first tier units really benefit from is upgrades throughout the game, because if you know you're getting your +1 early on in the game, by the time the late game rolls around, they could be on +3/+3, right?
Yes. Well, they should be.
Or they should be, yeah. So they're vastly more powerful, and they have a lot bigger numbers as well.
And I mean, 3/3 Marines are quite strong still in the late game.
Absolutely.
In any mass number.
So, what are some other upgrades that are something we should look for with Marines?
Their range is fairly good for a Tier 1 unit. I think when we think of other Tier 1 units, usually melee, if we think of the Zergling, the Zealot, all melee units. The fact that they're a ranged unit They have a range of 5.
Wow.
They can be.
It's a lot more than melee.
Yeah, they can be kited very well.
Yeah.
Again, for that harassment aspect, they can hit earlier than, say, a melee unit that needs to get there quicker, and so on. So
For sure.
range is a big thing in this, and I'd say that's probably why most people would say the Marine is the overall one of the best unit in the game.
Yeah,
Others
it's
might
so
say
versatile.
Infester, but
I say Marine. I
yeah,
mean, through
Marine
all
is,
stages of the game.
you get it right away with the range. They can hit air and ground. I mean, that's the other key with them, right?
Now, Ganzi here, I notice he has not researched Stimpack yet. Not sure how early Stimpack can be researched. I know you need to have a...
Well, go to his production. I think you're on units right now.
Right.
So he's just started Stim.
He started his Stim... Oh, Stim is researched at the Tech Lab. Forgive me about that. Yeah. So for the Marines, you can research Stim and also the Combat Shield, which adds a bit of life to the Marines as well. But I think Stim is probably the more powerful, the more go-to research. It adds range and speed, I think. Does it add range or just speed and attack
just speed and
damage?
Damage.
Okay.
I guess there's the argument you could have on whether it's better to get Combat Shield or Stim first. Combat Shield finishes quicker.
Oh, really? Okay.
Than Stim. Stim takes longer. Combat Shield increases the Marines by 10 health.
Yeah.
In an early game, that's a pretty big deal, especially against a low DPS such as a Zergling.
Okay.
Having that extra health is sometimes almost better than having Stim because you don't have any way to heal your Marines at this point.
So would you say, especially when a medevac comes out, that Stim is...
When a medevac comes out, yeah, Stim is much... It's the better than the Combat Shield, so that's where the argument comes in. Is it better to have Stim first or Combat Shield first? It's whatever you're more comfortable with. I would say if you're not a very strong micro player, always go Combat Shield first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's going to give you a little bit more health with your units.
So now we can see that Ganzi has finished up his Stim. He's gotten that first. He's now going for Combat Shields. So he's got that coming in second. He's loading up Marines into his medevac. It looks like probably going to do some harassment with that. He's got a tank back home, but... So this, again, this is another thing I think you had mentioned. Is even in the later game, is using your lower tier units to do like side attacks.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. You don't necessarily have to move them with your whole army.
No.
But you can send like one little group over here as a distraction, and then do something like this where you're going to try and take a drop into the main.
And it's the same thing that a Protoss will do with their zealots, with warpins and so on, right? So it's interesting how the metagame has changed since Wings Delivery first came out. Is that the Medivac was always the...
Sorry, he just did a Stim real quick, just...
Yeah, so the Stim adds, I looked it up, it adds 50% to both movement speed and attack speed.
Right.
And it costs 10 health.
So at the meantime, he's been able to bring in his Marines. Now, they're going to get killed, but that was really, really nice harassment while being able to do that drop there. And he only lost 2 units.
Yep.
Alright, again, if we're looking at the production, we see there's still more Marines being made, a couple tanks. But again, primarily this is a Marine heavy build.
Very Marine heavy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Marauder out yet.
Let's take a look at the units. I don't think no, there are no Marauders. There are 3 tanks and 18 Marines right now. And this is up against Queens, Banelings, Roaches, and 53 Zerglings. Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting.
Oh, he made his first Marauder.
Oh, he made a Marauder. Ah, this replay's in the garbage. Okay, I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, because we want to get through these replays if we can. So again, he's moving out with his entire army now, taking a defensive position at the front. Is he scouting with these workers, or just setting up for an expansion, looks like?
Oh, he's going to take the gold.
Taking the gold.
Aggressive. But he does siege tanks down, so perfect, actually really good play.
Okay, so those Marines are going to get taken out, and here come a couple of Marines and a tank and a Marauder.
The other great thing about Tier 1 units is, you can use your SCVs for scouting.
Yeah.
But an SCV, you're losing its efficiency. Its main purpose is to mine.
Right.
Holy smokes, that's a lot of lings.
Wow, that's a lot of lings.
A Marine, if it's sitting around, not doing anything anyways. So you might as well use him for scouting.
Right, yep. And Marines are really cheap. I think, is it 50 each?
50 each, yep.
Yeah. So this, oh man, look, he just wiped out Ganzi's base with those banelings. Wow, awesome. But I really don't think he has much of an army left, actually. He had, like, what, 50?
50 lings.
Lings, and now he's down to 18. 26 Marines for Ganzi. Some more lings coming into the south. Looks like Ganzi's tried to take another expo. At the same time, he's got his little ball here, which is moving out. So I think he's just going to let that fall. He might lift up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there you go. That's why Marines are also
a
premier first-tier unit. The other first-tier units can't hit air.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, if you like to micro, man, build a bunch of Marines. It works. So again, he's rebuilding at the gold. He has now got light saturation on his third, or second, I guess it is. Here come the lings again. He's got a dropship coming up to the top left. Let's see how these are handled here. Lots of stim going on, eh?
Yeah.
Forcing those lings to run away.
We can see how Zerg King got his name. Certainly makes a lot of Zerg.
Yes, he does.
He's got mutas on the field.
The mutas are coming in. They picked off
the Marines
gold.
counters so many things too as a first-tier unit. They're the counter to Mutalists.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Mutalists will. They're the counter to a lot of third-tier units too. Battle cruiser.
Oh, really?
Alpha battle cruiser, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Thors.
Looks like he's
not
waiting.
so good against tanks, but yeah, he'll wait. He'll wait for that to finish. I would assume that they can see him though with that.
He's on the higher ground. I'm not sure. Looks like the Mutalisks are coming in the back here. We've got Zerglings up at the high ground. Nice engagement here. Chasing off the lings and the... oh, yeah, it's been spotted.
He'll get it though.
But the hatch will go down.
Yeah.
He won't be able to lift those though, unfortunately. Okay, but still, look at that big army. We've got... how many? We have 41.
Marines.
41 Marines.
Up to 80 lings.
So it still feels like it could go either way, doesn't it?
Zerg King should really be utilizing Bailings a little bit more here. He's up to 16 now. So
Oh man, here come the Mutas.
The Mutas won't be much use against this, unfortunately. He really should be using the Mutas as harass.
Yeah, go pick off the worker line.
Because they're not going to be able to do anything to this army. Unless the tanks get out of. Whoa!
Oh, a little bit of a sandwich there.
Man.
But look at that Marine micro. Oh, sorry guys, sorry. The Marines are staying alive, they're moving. Even Banelings are bursting. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh no, he still has. He must have 23 back at home.
Yeah, he must. I think they're probably back here. Yeah, there they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like he narrowly lost that battle, but he did a lot of damage. Now it looks like Zerg King's getting a little bit hungry. He's coming in, and he's going to run into these Stim Marines again. And again, now we're at the 20-minute mark, and let's look at the production tab. We're still making Marines. Ganzi's still making Marines.
3 attack, 2 shield.
He's got 3 and 2 upgrade. Look at those nice drops.
Zerg King's still making a lot of Mutalists.
And he's going for a lot of Banelings as well. He had a lot of success with those Banelings. But Ganzi's been able to saturate his third. He's going to get attacked here. Not sure if the Planetary Fortress is going to hold up. At the same time, he took out the base of Zerg King, and he's going for the other one.
Should be able to get. I don't see any units coming.
Oh, he lost his third. But again, the mobility with these medevacs, they're able to just pick them up and move them all over the map.
Yep. I'd love to see those medevacs get healed up a bit, but...
Yeah, I don't think he has any SCVs along. Here come the Mutalisks.
Take him back home.
No, he's not... Is he going to engage?
This'll be interesting.
No, he's waiting for the Lings and Banelings to come up.
It's a great position on that ramp.
Wow. But notice how to make best use of these Marines, he didn't even go up that ramp, he just came up the side. They've been stimmed again, they're getting healed by the medevacs. Oh man!
Melt them.
Great split by Ganzi,
Yeah.
and he has to drive back to Mutas. More Lings coming in. I think they're all gone. I think that these medevacs are going to fall as well. Meantime, he's setting up back at the gold. He's got this tower. I think Zerg King. No, he doesn't have that tower, but look at all these.
5 bases for Zerg King. I'd like to see Ganzi take a couple of those on the right.
Yeah, that would be nice. He's taking out the gold.
Probably
More
wants
Lings.
to fuel this gold though.
Yeah, I think he will. Yes, he is hard. Okay, these medevacs. Sorry, these Marines are getting stimmed like crazy. So we're nearing the end of the game, actually. Now, what do we have for units? Basically, 57 Marines. And
He's really cut SCV production.
yeah, he must be pretty
He's
saturated.
not making any more after he got hit. Just muling.
Yeah. Zerg King. Looks like he's trying to retake his. Is that his 4th? 1, 2, 3, 4. He's also expanding to his 5th. Let's look at our production tab. Look, more Marines coming in, 7 at a time.
And still just Marine tank.
Just Marine tank, that's it. Couple defensive structures like
players
turrets.
are very resilient with the type of unit they want.
Yeah, looks like Zerg King is kind of sticking to Mutalist, which I think is a mistake.
Yeah, he's building 6 more.
And Banelings. Now here again, this is this nice mechanic with the drops
Oh, I love the tanks on the low ground there too.
because they have vision now, eh?
Yeah. So they get attacked.
Perfect. Okay, so now it looks like Lings are coming into the base. Is he gonna ferry more of them up?
Oh,
man!
You didn't see. Uh-oh.
Oh, he's getting sandwiched. The Banelings tear through everything, but look at the Marines.
Oh man, that was a great split.
Nice little micro. He split the Marines up, and they don't take all that damage. They're hitting from the low ground. They're still stimmed. They need to be healed, but I think the Mutalists just have to run away.
Yeah, those Mutalists are going to go down. 3 Marines.
Oh man, look! Down they go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
GG. Alright, so how can we get out of this view? Okay, I have to hit 7. Alright, let's just see if that worked. There we go. Okay, guys.
Ganzi. Yeah.
Ganzi wins it, and he won it because of Marines. Tier 1 units all the way. Any other quick facts before we jump into Zerglings?
I don't think so. That's about it with Marines.
Yep.
There's some stuff we can talk about with Zergling. Obviously, Zerg King used a lot of Lings there. I didn't want to talk too much about them because that's what we're going to be dealing with next.
Yeah,
so.
we can just jump right into that if you want.
Yep.
So that was Marines. I hope that inspired you guys to build more Marines.
I once had a diamond level player as you're getting this going.
Sure.
I told him that because when I originally switched from Terran to Zerg, I was like, "Oh man, I just can't win with Terran."
Right.
And then he's like, "You're crazy. Just make Marines, right? And you'll get to diamond no problem." And so I started making Marines, and I just like it's almost impossible to lose when you just make Marines.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and it feels good to crush with just a bunch of Marines.
People get annoyed, but I'm like, well, I'm not going to start making battle cruisers, right? Might as well just stick with Marines.